We're looking at the fight against white supremacy. Have we done it alone? In other words, has there ever been a collective group that's helped us in this fight to liberation? Now, I know that there have allegedly been a couple of people here and there, but, there's a lot to be said about if they really were, what their intentions were. For instance, Marcus Garvey. What was Marcus Garvey all about? I hear things here and there. But, So, Wani, do we fight the dominant society alone?
Yes, we do. Show over.
Yeah.
I mean, who's on record as fighting it? I mean, let's look at Asians. Did they fight white supremacy? I believe they were behind us hiding when we were doing our civil rights moves. And they're actually, I believe this mayor, I think he's a mayor, is on record for saying they were cowards and they just stayed quiet. Even when we were fighting white supremacy for Asians, because Frederick Douglass was very outspoken and wrote about the yellow peril and the Chinese Exclusion Act and all these things that were against them, he was fighting against white supremacy for them. And they didn't show a lot of gratefulness. A lot of times, our organizations have been fighting for other groups. I remember a long time ago, a Sikh man, I don't know if he was Indian or Pakistani, one of those. He was a Sikh individual, and he was beaten up by white people. And the NAACP went over there, we're going to defend you, and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, no, get away. I don't want anything to do with black people. He was beaten up really bad in the hospital, hospitalized because he was beaten. So not only do they get beaten up, like with the COVID, the Asian hate crime, they were such cowards that not only did they not admit that 75, 80, 90% of the people beating them up were white, they went above and beyond because they said, not only are we going to ignore facts, we're going to say that black people are beating us up and show a video of a Haitian man pushing a Chinese woman on the train tracks, which has nothing to do with us. But anyway, these people go out of their way to not only not fight white supremacy, but to attack us so that they can align themselves more with white supremacy.
Right. That's the game. That's the big finesse of the whole system, is alignment with power. So all power is not good power. I had a mentor years ago, an older educator, tell me, all money's not good money. And I thought he was crazy for saying that until I got a really high paying job that I couldn't wait to quit. All power is not good power. Power that is gained from, destruction and the peril of others is like tainted. You know what I'm saying? So why am I saying this? I'm saying the title says, do FBAs fight the system alone? No. Yes, we don't have any help. And not only, I didn't mean to say no, not only do we not have any help, this immigrants tend to align themselves with the dominant society against them. But that's nothing new. Let's look at Dr. John Henry Clark. I don't get to read him much. I'm going to have to change that because he's one of my heroes. In his book, Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust, he says, quote, the famous emperor of Mali, Mansa Musa. Now, stop right there. His name was Musa Keita. Mansa means king. So King Musa really is what that means. Stopped at Timbuktu on his pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324. He went in regal splendor with an entourage of 60,000 people, including 1,200 servants, 500 bondsmen. Each of them carried a staff of pure gold. The outside of the late medieval period, the Emperor Musa Keita was more than an individual. He was Africa. He conquered Shanghai and built the University of Sankore. He figured out by name on every map. He figured by name on every map in his lifetime. He became the symbol of mystery and the fabulous wealth of unknown African continent. He was the most colorful of the black kings of the 14th century. He still held his position nearly 2 centuries after his death. Check this out. After the death of Mansa Musa, the empire of Mali declined in importance. Nobody supported Musa Keita, his vision. It was all about showing off. And that establishes, in my view, the idea on the continent of this competitive, I'ma outdo you nature of these people. That is the attitude that a vast majority of them have when they get to the States, is I'm going to outdo you. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be that. Back in my years professing at the Historical Black College, at one of the Historical Black Colleges I was at, I noticed this attitude. It was a competitive, I'm going to be a doctor. No, you're not. I'm going to do it. I'm talking about undergrads, like from the continent. I'm going to be the doctor. I'm going to do this. It was a competitive nature that I'm so grateful that we're exposing, because a lot of our kids, a lot of FBA undergrads at this institution thought it was some type of solidarity there. And that is the weapon. It's a weapon of pseudo solidarity. And just like the Air Force in the stealth bomber and the stealth fighter, they fly low under the radar. That's the tactic. You fly in low at night under the radar, and you pop up, drop your laser guided weapon, pop back under the radar and disappear, and the whole world explodes, and you don't know what the hell happened until years later when it's on the newspaper that a B-2 dropped a laser guided bomb on your house. How does that relate to what I'm saying? It has everything to do with what I'm saying, because a lot of these melanated immigrants, particularly from West Africa, come in under the radar, come to a historical black college, and for 4 years they coast under the radar, secretly undermining. These people work together, get with professors to get these good grades in the prerequisites of medicine and chemistry, engineering, and then FBAs, like some of the students that I mentored in my group, don't even know why that's why they were seeing me. They don't know why the hell they got a bad grade in chemistry. I don't know, Professor, Dr. A, I don't know why I did everything he asked me to do, and he gave me a B- or a C. Like I tell him to challenge it. And then the provost would say, I'm sorry, it's the policy. He has well within his rights, without an explanation. Well, years later, now, just like that stealth bomber dropping that bomb, they know why. Because they were gatekeeping slots to UT School of Medicine and Howard School of Medicine and Meharry School of Medicine, schools that were built for us. Go ahead. I thought, he must have dropped down. Yeah, so we fight this fight alone. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. You want to know why, ladies and gentlemen? Because we are built for it. It's in our DNA. I heard our brother Tariq Nasheed say something so powerful. I'm paraphrasing him. He said that basically that's the way it is. He said what was beautiful that he said is we are Batman and the system, the dominant society is Joker. We're Superman and the dominant society is Lex Luthor. I'm going to take it a step further and go back to Kim. Now, I've been saying Kemet, but when I was studying for this space, I bust out my boy, Dr. Chancellor Williams. Dr. Chancellor Williams said it wasn't called Kim. It wasn't called Kemet. It was called Kim or Kimmy. So back to Kim.
How do you spell it? K-E-M?
C-H-E-M.
Oh, but...
Like chemistry. Get it? Or Kimmy. Or Kimi. That's a beautiful name in it, Kimi. But it goes back to there. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about the Memphite theology, the origin of Christianity. In that fight, you had Heru fighting Set. You had light versus, you had the forces of good fighting darkness, and that was the balance of the universe. Set Typhon or Satan is synonymous with sunset, the ending of the sun, and Heru is pixelated by this, is visualize as the Son of God. Get it? But that is a fight. That's our fight. That's what we're here to do. And I'm not condoning violence. I'm just saying we're here for resistance. We're here to stand on the forces of good. And like Dr. Claude Anderson said, you don't make a black cup of coffee stronger by putting milk in it or sugar. You make it weaker. So let's make our cup of coffee black. I like my coffee black anyway. D-Salah, what's on your mind, man?
Hey, how you doing today?
Yes,
sorry, in the last space I was too long-winded. I might be still.
Stop apologizing. If you were too long-winded, I would have cut you off. You spit facts.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna also cook with this one as well. There's a lot of discuss. I think on Sunday I was in Dr. Wilt's space. I don't know if you know who she is or not, but yeah, we was going a little bit back and forth about the DNA topic, and if you know, I even tagged her on one of Wani's posts about the same topic, and I mean, she kind of agreed and stuff like that, but I digress. Let me talk about the topic today. Do FBAs fight white supremacy alone? Were Africans ever united? FBA DNA. Ooh, I like this topic. So, foundational Black Americans through lawns have fought white supremacy longer and more directly than any group on this earth. We didn't just resist it, we redefined it by surviving it, innovating through it, and birthing new people from its furnace. Our DNA, our culture, our spirit, it's not any type of anywhere on this earth. No Pan-African, melanated, whatever you want to call it. It's Sulan FBA specific. Our blood carries the memory of the southern soil, the resistance of the maroon caps, the mound builders, the rhythm of the blues, the laws of the black church, the fire of the hoodoo, and the grit of the ghettos turned battlegrounds. No other people on this globe have a singular genetic imprint that ties directly to being the autochthonous people of the America and chattel slavery, also the American industrial development. It is not African blood. It is our DNA. And it's only be found here in this land, United States of America. This is our story. They stole our ancestors in this land, but they didn't steal our becoming. Ask yourself this, people. Were Africans ever united in fighting our oppression? If not, why do we keep pretending there wasn't any type of united front? We've been fighting alone, yet we kept building. So FBA, Sulan DNA, is not just a genealogical, it is a legacy. We are the descendants of the forced nation, yet we're the architects of the only culture that birthed stuff like jazz, stuff like rock music, stuff like soul, the Black Power movement, and the modern delineation reparations fight. So we need to stop pretending unity ever existed outside of us. Our unity is here in the United States. They come here. We don't go to there. Every time we're there, we come with resources. We come to help them fight, and then we go back home. So, and it's time that we honor it by delineating, codifying, and protecting it. So let's get one thing straight, though. We are not just descendants of a slave, as I mentioned earlier. We are the autochthonous people rooted through this soil, not borrowed from another land, but born through it. We are not guests in America. We are the America's Black Earth. We didn't immigrate here. We was forged here. I say this over and over. I say it in different tweets and areas. We was forged here. We are the autochthonous people. Whether it's pre-colonial or post-colonial, there's different type of jurisdictions and different type of stuff, how we could define it. You want to talk about post-colonial autochthonous, us being autochthonous, it's an ethnogenesis. There you go. That's all you have to explain it. Our DNA isn't no mixture, Pan-African, amalgamated type of thing. It's our DNA. We are the only group with a lineage shaped by a specific experience of U.S. child slavery, reconstruction, betrayal, Jim Crow terror, mass incarceration, and state sabotage. Yeah, we still create, we still let, and we still build. The Sulan, the FBA was made. Nothing pretty much take us. We built from the ground up. Our ethnic group was created here. Our toxinous claim and foundational claim isn't a rejection of heritage. It's a declaration of origin. We were not born in Africa. We was born in the struggle. We was born in, me specifically, Arkansas, Alabama, South Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, Detroit, Harlem, Watts, Louisiana, Mississippi. And from that fire, we crafted a culture no one else on earth can replicate and truly understand. To be a toxinist is to have no passport but the scars of your people carried in this land. This land carries our bones, our blues, our bloodline. We never needed to borrow identity. We are the identity. We are the sovereign language. We are the sovereign lineage. And we're not asking for recognition. We're building it. We are the children. We are the children of the architects of resistance. We're not children of migrants. We're not immigrants. So I'm going to land my plane there. Thanks for letting me speak.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I'm putting some in the Jumbotron right now that's really deep. That by Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop, who was, well, I don't know if I want to, he was an African, but Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop has a very interesting story because Sheikh was, he's one of the lineages, he's from Senegal, but he hid his lineage, his family for centuries, millennia, had to hide the fact that they were Kemites. They were actually from Kim or Egypt. And they had a tradition where they kept secrets hidden. And that caused his death. Sheikh wrote a book that identified a lot of things. Y'all want to read by Civilization of Barbarism if you can find it. That book cost him his life. But we're going to read out that tonight. And in the book, he calls them clans. So ethnic groups that you see, like the dominant society, who are totally against us, have a very different and interesting ethnogenesis, which is why a lot of them kind of have specific appearances. What Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop identifies, he says on page 111, he says Clanic and tribal organization. He says Clanic organization, right? What that means is a specific ethnic group, like the dominant society, is founded on the taboo of incest, marks the beginning of civilization. Human being is no longer simply a biological animal. His sexual relations henceforth are dependent on very strict social regulations. He says the clan is also above all social organization whose purpose is to meet economic needs and to challenge nature. Who you think you're talking about? He said it's founded on the deliberate choice of a unilateral type of kinship, patrilineal or matrilineal, of private or collective type of ownership, a mode of inheritance. Therefore, at the moment of clanic formation, humanity already knew the respective roles of both spouses in the physical conception of the child. It had a clear notion of physical kinship, ownership of goods and inheritance, and the possible relationship between individuals. So we're dealing with a group of people who, to keep their phenotype, engaged in incestuous activity to control us. I just thought that would be really interesting for y'all to read. I'm putting it in the Jumbotron in a second. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Yeah, it's there. It's there now. I'll put it up there. Bam. There we go. Go ahead, Kush.
And so I just wanted to jump in right quick before we get to any of the other speakers. I just wanted to say that to the topic, do FBAs fight white supremacy alone? One thing that comes to my mind is a quote, one of my favorite quotes by Malcolm X, which is people involved in a revolution don't become part of the system, they destroy the system. The Negro Revolution is no revolution because it condemns the system. Because it condemns the system and then asks the system it has condemned to accept it. I think I read that wrong. It says the Negro Revolution is no revolution because it condemns the system and then asks the system it has condemned to accept them. So I feel as though these other groups of people, they want to be accepted. They want to assimilate. And so that's what makes us different. We're not trying to assimilate. Ever since the Civil Rights Act of 1866, where it pretty much was that we should have the same rights, privileges, and punishments as a white person. We weren't, and we are not trying to be white. We are simply fighting for what is our right, what is owed, what is due. These other people, they don't have rights. They're not owed anything. When they come here, that is the benefit for them. That is the Benny, to be close to whiteness. That is their privilege. That's what they want. And so they have nothing to fight for because they've already attained what it is that they want, which is to assimilate, or what they think is assimilation, and be close to whiteness. We're not impressed with being close to whiteness. And so we continue to fight. We fight alone. Thinking back to something, one of Tariq's spaces the other night, where there was a teller that came in saying that we need these other melanated people in order to get things accomplished, whether it's reparations or anything else. I believe it was Saba Regina said, we don't need y'all. And that's the thing. We fight alone, but these are not people that we necessarily need, because we don't need people that are trying to assimilate and be part of the enemy. We don't need sleeper cells on our side of the line. So that's all that I wanted to say to that.
Well, it's so perfect. Wow. Like, the ancestors are working with us tonight, because before you even said that, look in the Jumbotron. In the Jumbotron, you'll see I put something from Sheikh Anta Diop that says the law of I got to put the other part in there. The law of how you pronounce that? Assimilability. Kind of a hard word for me to say, but it's talking about assimilation. So thank you, Kush. So y'all think about this, and look at this. Dr. Diop says, quote, and I'll put the rest. I want y'all to, use that in your scholarship and your notes. But Dr. Diop on page 123 of Civilization of Barbarism, check this out, Black Americans. He says, if the majority and minority belong to the same large ethnic group and thus share the same culture, assimilation occurs progressively. There goes your word, progressive. He says the Spanish and the Portuguese workers despised today in France will integrate themselves into the population within the space of one generation, as did the descendants of the Corsians and the Poles in the Napoleonic era. The same would be true about the Bambara and Senegal after one generation. In cases where the ethnic and cultural gap is too great, tensions are exacerbated with time. Africans and blacks, Arabs find themselves in a situation in Europe. Coexistence then becomes possibly only in a truly socialistic state, or a state that's adopted a high moral philosophy. A lot was said, and Diop is kind of deep, but let me break down what he said. He's saying basically that groups assimilate into the dominant society for means of power, and they're despised for a little while, but that's their objective, is power. And he said now Africans are trying to do it, and Arabs, and he says that won't work unless you build what? A socialist government. Haven't we been telling y'all that that's been the objective? Wasn't that why we made sure Kamala didn't get in there? Because we can see the socialist agenda. And once you get that socialist agenda, it's a wrap. Because we're still going to be Black Americans, but the law, in my pro se opinion, and society is going to say, no, we're all one. And then we're invisible until we are slowly dissipated into nothingness, which is the objective.
Now, I found a couple of people that have fought white supremacy, but they just didn't, one of them didn't keep going, and ended up over here floating on a raft to get welfare, eat cats, and form gangs. And the other one still fights what we would call white supremacy, but some of us might think that they're white. They're not really white. They're white-esque. That's Russians. Russians don't like this form of white supremacy. They're kind of fighting the one that we're familiar with, but they have another type. Theirs is more, it is white supremacy, but it's different. So maybe what we have here is two white supremacists arm wrestling each other, a faction of them fighting. They're definitely racist.
You think the Russians are? I know a little bit about Russian history, but Wani, not to cut you off, but I don't. The Russians were target number one, according to Albert Pike, of the Nova Order Seclorum, the New World Order. They had to get rid of them. And I don't see, from my view of history, I don't think Russia was ever engaged in the slave trade. And
No.
I don't see any vitriol coming from Russia to, now I'm talking about academically in history, vitriol from Russia to foundational Black Americans. And let me take it a step further. I've had
Black students, we need to know our history.
The Black history we're being taught in public schools is repetitive.
As a Black high school student, I want to learn more about my history in the school books.
We need to update our books.
As Black American students, we deserve an accurate depiction of what Black history truly is.
I want to see myself in these textbooks.
In the public school system, Black history is vague.
Why don't the school books ever talk about the Freedmen's Bureau?
I created the workbook for the African American family. This book helps fill in the gaps that the school books don't. Purchase the workbook for the African American family on ourstorypublications.com and use the Cash App, $Our Story Publications.